I've got to testify what you ever taught us from the starting of my journey. Many thought I wouldn't make it. There were too many battles, but I fought along the way. Many thought I was a fool, but I only kept my cool. When she ever by my side, I was sure to get this soon. And he held me gently, and he held me closely, and brought me through the storm. Down to the air, that he got my heart on fire. And I'm so happy, because he gave my heart desire. Let my body praise to love, let it from heart and fire. Let my body praise. I'm so happy, and there you go. Let's celebrate the Lord. Come and celebrate the Lord. Let's celebrate the Lord. He is ready to be praised. He is ready to be worshipped. He is ready to be praised. Come and celebrate the Lord. He's ready. Come and worship our Lord. Come and celebrate the Lord. Sing to let me put my heart in fire. Let my body praise. Give my heart desire. Let me run let my body praise. I'm sorry, I really gotta there are so many distractions. Some and even God bless you. Just keep your mind focused on the things you want to do. When you have a by your side, you will surely get the soon. Don't just say you are doomed, you will surely boom. Now since today, that is how my heart on fire. And I'm so happy, for to give my heart desire. Let my body praise. Let it have my heart on fire. Let my body praise. Say I'm sorry, because you give my heart desire. Let my body celebrate the Lord. I will celebrate the Lord. Yes, celebrate the Lord. Yes, ready to be praised. Let me worship our Lord. Yes, Lord, you are the most. Hallowed be the name. Lord, you are the most. Hallowed be the name. Lord, you are the most. Hallowed be the name. You tell me, say me kind of love, that everything's gonna be okay. You are the father to the fatherless, the miracle working God. You make the blind man to see. You made the crippled man to walk. You are the lily of Galilee. You make impossible possible.
We want to say good day and welcome to Family Connection International on the forum Keep It in Touch, a forum where we share life-changing experiences and stay connected. As always, we're here every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Today, again, we are back with a very tough and provoking discussion. We have a guest that we'll be introducing very shortly, but I have with me Ben and Levi as always. Go over to Ben. Ben is in California today. Ben, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good in California, and I'm looking forward to our honorable guest that we have today to discuss some important issues as it relates to the well-being of people in that area of the world that you live in. But as for me in California, glory be to God, I'm doing great. I had a wonderful service this morning, and I'm here all together with you guys as usual. So I look forward to what God has in store for us for this day. Thank you. Back to you, Solo.
Thank you so much. And we have with me another co-host, Levi Tatos Dana. That's the minister. Today is second Sunday after Easter. Minister, welcome.
Oh, well, thank you. Solo, it's a good thing to be here. Today is the Sunday after Easter. So it's a Sunday where we come with who are all with land, with the mindset that we are in a new beginning. We have retrospect on the death and restoration of our Lord and personal Savior. So we have come as new people, and we ensure that our newness reflects in the world, in our community, in our churches, and wherever we are. So once again, I want to say thank you, and it's wonderful being back on this platform.
Great. And to our many viewers, tonight we want to say thank you so much for joining us from wherever you join us. Tonight, as I said very early, we have with us the Reverend Robert O. Reeves. He a former board chairman and former board member, and currently running for the office of presidency of the Staten Island Liberal Community. That's SELCA. By a word of clarity information, the Staten Island Liberal Community is one of the boroughs in New York City where Liberians are based. So the Liberians have a group called SELCA. So meaning he's running for presidency of that group. If you're just following us, that's one of the boroughs in New York City. So Reverend Robert O. Reeves is one of the candidates running for this position. So we had the opportunity to call Reverend Reeves to join us tonight. and share his agenda, share his platform, why he want to be president for this community. We want to say, Reverend Reed, welcome.
Where I want to thank you all for inviting me to this platform for us to share our platform. So delighted that I can come this time to have a conversation. And I want to welcome those audience that are out there by way of Facebook, be it may, to listen to the voice that I think it is not time for it to be heard. I again want to say thank you for inviting me and look forward going through whatsoever question to answers, discussion to be made, and so forth and so on and so on.
Thank you so much, Reverend Reed. To our many followers who are following us today on Facebook, if you're following on YouTube, we are live both on Facebook and on YouTube. Just type in Family Connection International, you'll be able to see us. And just like our page and follow our broadcast. Tonight we'll be having this discussion with Reverend Reed. If you have a comment, drop us a comment. If you have a question, drop a question. We want to read your question. And we have numbers. We'll find some time where if you have a call and to put in your comment or maybe a question, and you are on Staten Island, as I am, that you want to contribute to this discussion, which is very great, know what Reverend Reed brings to the table since he want to be president. We appreciate your question and your comment. Reverend Reed, let's start this discussion tonight. Who is Reverend Robert O. Reeves?
I was like to start by saying Reverend Robert O. Reeves is a humble man. He's a detailed person. He loves others, and he's just a simple person created in God's own image.
Great. A very simple person created in the image of God. That could not be a better answer for anyone. By the way, he's a reverend, so he will tell you that. Why are you running to become the president of SELCA?
Why my decision of running as the president or wanting to be the president is to bring about change, things that I have seen, things that I have worked towards. Never had the opportunity to be the leader, the ones that shepherd, the ones that direct. So I found it now, the opportunity now to lead and do those things that I think it is necessary to be done. And that's the main reason why I have come to choose this opportunity to lead my people and to lead my community in the direction that I see best, and that will bring about a stability, that will bring about those change that we all are yearning for. So I think it is not the opportunity to come in front of being long behind is now the time that I can take upon myself to say, look, I saw this, and I think I can better do what I have seen. So that's the reason why I have come to bring about those change that need to be done.
Great, Minister. Reverend, you said you as we rarely said in the past, you serve as board member. You also serve as board chair. What did you observe to be wrong with SELCA policies during your tenure as board member that make you believe that you can make a change as president if elected?
I think my role as a board member, I think there was uh, a lot of changes that were made because we came into the office where we came and met uh, a contract with the previous leadership under the Deacon Bryan have went out. He went out, got this property, and being that he never had the full opportunity to 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 guide it, to manage it, and he turned it over to the previous administration. There where I came in as a board member, I, and later became the chairman of the board. So what I did, I formed a group of board members and sat them down to work on strategies that will help the administration, then the executive. And we went and we got a few data with the DYCD, and under my supervision, under my help, and I didn't sit there, but I worked with the executive. We fill up the form and guide them in some of the of processes. So when time came for us to uh, uh, fully manage, and there where the problems came in, and I would tell you that that problem being there for rack of ages, and when the opportunity comes for the board and the executive to work, uh, there are always problems that will come in to bring that division. So, but I didn't mind that, and I stood my ground, and we worked hand in hand, and things were done.
Reverend, my question, I think that was great. That's one of the achievements. And why you believe that you work with the executive, at least the property that was spending, and you people were able to secure this property and proceed. But what things that you observe that are wrong with Silka that you becoming president can fix your state? Can you catalog one or two things that you see
Yeah.
wrong with Silka that you think if you are president, you can have them fixed? Or you can work to mitigate those problems?
But that's the thing. I think if you went through my explanation, when we came in first, we established a team. And the thing that I see, the thing that I observe, when time came for us to work together, and that togetherness, that's the problem I had with these people, with the executive, because some of the comments that was thrown out there, that whether the board is trying to macro manage the executive, it was not so. We the board there to bring about stability, the board there to oversee the day-to-day activities of the executive. So if the executive do not allow the board to do his or their work, that that would bring in problem, and that's some of the problem I already encounter, and those problem coming back to be the, the executive leader. I want to open the corridor where both board and the executive can find that bond that we can work, because that's the reason why we our community was not going further, because that bond was not there, that working environment was not there, collaboration was not there. So want to feel that he's the Lord and Gospel, and the other one will say, no, you're not a Lord and Gospel. But coming in as the president, I now we want to sit down with the board and see how best we can work together as a team and not a divided part. So that's one of the things that I see, that unity and that togetherness was not there.
Thank you so much, Reverend Reed. If you just following our discussion, by the way, just letting you know that we have with us today Reverend Robert Reed, candidate for president for the Staten Island LeBron community, called himself Silka, one of the borough of New York City called Staten Island. Reverend Reed, you talk about the issue of micromanaging. I have the Constitution of Silka in my hand. I know that the board is there as a legislative arm. The board is there to have oversight. Did the executive present a plan to the board to be executed? Because by right, the executive is supposed to present a plan within 90 days or so after elections, maybe all their committee nomination and whatever. So the board can approve those plans. In turn, the executive will implement. So if the executive did not submit a plan to the board, how did you micromanage the executive?
I didn't say I micromanage.
No, that was the accusation from the executive that the board. Yeah, that was the accusation.
To micromanage the executive, and the reason why of that term or that word micromanage was the same thing that you're saying. There is a constitution. The constitution say S, Y, and Z. So if you don't bring your budget, let's take for example, when the year comes, the executive should have prepared a budget, give it to the board, and the board will review it, and the board will approve it. Within that budget, the executive will go to that budget and begin to run the term, because what they have spelled out in that budget plan should be implemented, but nothing of such was given. We didn't get the full, we didn't get a full budget. We get brick and pieces. When they bring the brick and pieces, in my case, I would tell them, say, no, you need to go back and do a full budget, because if you come with brick and pieces, we don't know what you guys estimating that this is how much we want to use. Take for instance, when we got that property, it was not managed well. If he was going to come and sit with us, both of us going to sit down and do proper management. My thing there, when we first got that property, is to establish a management team, and that management team will oversee the property and all other property the association will have. So when it came to that point, being that the way they got the property, they couldn't allow it, because they said that, oh, they had to spend the money, and those that spend the money, they needed to pay them back before coming back to the table. But hey, if you bring that to me, there is a problem. So I will tell you, so go back and do this. So when I'm telling them, no, I will not do this, I will not do that, you need to do this, you need to do that, there where they came in to say, okay, well, it looked like you guys want to micromanage us. No, because we have a constitution. He was not going by the constitution.
Thank you so much, Reverend Reed. Reverend Reed, if you are elected, I think May 8th is the election date that stands to be corrected. Do you have a plan to present to the board? If so, what is your plan?
I have a plan.
What would be your plan if elected as president?
I have a
come May 8th. What
I
will
have
you
a
submit
plan.
to the board?
Before I go further to to pinpoint my plan, our community is at a place of standstill position, and because we have a lot of things that cause us to be in that opposition. We are not a community of integrity. We we are not uh, a community with respect. We have not a community with accountability. We have not a community that is unified. Uh, we are not a community that, let me say, or simply term, uh, together. So I come with that pillows. So what I did, I designed a put of pillows that we can work on towards strengthen our community. So I look into that and say, look, we need a community of integrity. We have lost our integrity. We have lost our position. We go somewhere, we go out there. I mean, we are not respected because the way in which carry it, we carry ourselves. We as I look into it again, I saw we need to restore some of those characters, some of those integrity. So we want to work on uh, restoring those. How can we do that? We we decided to go to these churches where they hold the center of the community. So we want to bring back our people, restore that dignity that we can again show ourselves as we are a peculiar people in this nation. And I look at the sense of respect. We don't have respect for one another. So how can we work a community with all no respect? We won't have things to go on. So we want to develop that. We want to bring about accountability. A lot of times people give in and they don't see results. And it drives away people that want to support. So how can we account for things that you will want to give us? How can we develop that spirit of accountability? So it's one of those things that we want to bring back to our community. And last and not the least, we want to bring that unity with all of those things. If we can uh, 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 pick point on on those things, we can come up with being united. If we are united, then now we can come up to forming a community hall. Uh, hey, we had a community hall, we lose it. How can we get a community hall? So that is one of my plan. How can we get it? When when others were there, they wanted to go and start marketing. So I want to start from the simple a simple place. Go and see whether we can rent one apartment from the management. Say, look, we are an organization that's servicing the people on Park Hill. We have a full pantry and we are servicing them. We have we have the opportunity to go and get one of those apartments while we planning to get a bigger place. So it's one of my plans. How will we do that? We want to talk to each of the churches and see how best we can come together. How can we work together? So a plan is already uh, put in place. How to go about that?
Thank you so much, Reverend Reed. I know we have a lot to talk about tonight. We talk about trying to bring up back the integrity, respect, unity, and accountability. I think we need to go into detail because if you say you have a plan, talking about integrity, which is a good thing, talking about respect among ourselves as a community is also a good thing. To unite us, how can we unite? Because if you get elected as an executive, you should have plan on board. Submit to the board, tell the board this is what I want to do and this is how I want to execute it, which will be what associated with a budget, which the board will look at. Because I believe the board and executive should work together. Whatever it is that you submit to the board can make their own suggestion to come up with maybe a comprehensive plan which can be executed. I know we have a lot to talk about tonight, but I got my colleagues on the panel. I'd like to go over to Ben Ketel. Ben, you can take it from here.
Thank you so much, Brother Solo. And as I follow you guys, it was a great intro with our guest, Reverend Robert Reed. Reverend, good evening at your end. And from my end, I would say good afternoon.
Yeah, good evening.
I follow your discussion with Solomon. And as you know, this forum is a place where we exchange our life experiences, our past experiences. We share them on this forum that can serve as a motivation for other people that follow us, or for other people that may come across whatever topic of discussion that we have. In this case today, we are discussing your dream, your ambition of becoming the president of an association that comprises of Liberians basically that are in Staten Island. Now, I'm a little bit curious to know a little more about you. I know there was a question that was given to you earlier to tell us who you are, and you kind of make it very short or summarizing the form that you are just a simple person made in the image of God. Hey, I believe that. I trust that. We are all, especially for all of us that are on this forum, we are all made in the image of God, and we are children of God for that matter. But I would like to go a little bit deeper. Can you tell us a little bit about what have you done in the past that prompted you to have this ambition, or that has prepared you to have this ambition of becoming the president for a group of this kind? Can you throw a little light on that?
I thank you, Brother Ben. I started off when the question was asked who this Robert Reeves is. I started off to say I'm a honest, homo. I mean, a homo person. I'm also a detailed person with a strong analytical skill. I have the ability to work with others and in diverse environment, ethical background. And the reason why I say I thought we had a short time, we didn't want to spend, because when I start who this person, Robert O. Reeves is, probably you want to lead from this point. I'm a humble person, and I find myself diverse in a sense that where I grew up, how I grew up, my schooling, and so forth. So I let me just say a little bit of myself, and if I a person that have great or bigger ambition to see myself becoming elite, I would say. But becoming elite uh, must come from a place where you can grow, and that way I always want to see myself and going down, up, not going down, but going up the line to see how best I can work when I am opportune to be given the chance to do the work that I want to do.
So
So
Yeah, you want to complete that? Go ahead.
So I came from a background. Let me not go uh, further. When I came into this community, I decided to work because I knew that I wanted to see myself either as the president, or board member, or so forth. And so I began to work from behind, and I watched every leadership that came in place. Every one of them was good in their own character. Everyone performed the job, whether it was good to other or bad to other. They perform their their service in their own best interest. I mean, questions. So I followed them and I learned from them. So when time came to become a board member, I was asked to serve, and I took on the challenge. I took on the task because I knew what
Okay,
what it implies to do the work.
great. Now, I know from your title, it tells me that you are a reverend or maybe a minister, a pastor. Have you held any congregation in the past? And I'm asking this because the position for which you are seeking is a leadership position. And again, your past experiences can give a clear view of people that will be deciding as to whether they can choose you to be their leader. Will tell them if they have to make a follow-up on where you have been and what you have done, what kind of character or what kind of footprint have you left in those areas. Can you give a little light on that? Have you been a pastor of a church? What is that church that you have been a pastor of? What have you done there? Things like that. Is that possible from your end?
No, I will tell you, say I'm not a pastor of the church.
Okay.
I work with a church, uh,
And what is that church name?
New Life Church of Staten Island.
Okay.
And before going to New Life Church of Staten Island, a lot of times I don't like to tell people, so I let them to find out from themselves. I'm a I'm a theologian by education. I studied. I got my bachelor in theology. I didn't stop there. Uh, when I got my biology, I was working with Providence Baptist Church in Liberia. I worked with the youth department there,
Okay.
and we brought about unity. We went on camps. So I headed a lot of position that help young people to grow up in the things and even to help them become what they need to be and what they should do. So when I graduated from Banga School, I found myself in New York, and then I went to uh, a seminary. There where I got another master. My first master, it was a dual program, master in pastoral care and counseling, and master in youth and family counseling with youth and family, marriage and family. I mean, so I didn't stop there. I had to go to do a management program, another management. But before I went to do that management program, I was opportune to work with a social service group while I was doing my, my master in pastoral care. So I was leading a group there, and we led a group of 20. First, it began with 25 youth, uh, making them to find a place of belongings.
Mm,
Because other times the youth come from high school or college, they don't know what they want. So
mm,
we work with them to see whether, oh, look, I think this would be the right thing for you to do. This would be the right course for you to do. So we work with a group of 25. They later became 50. We went South Dakota and other stuff. And from there, I was told to come back because at the time I wanted to do my PhD, and my advisor told me, say no. So go back and have some experience. When I came, I worked with the Nutrient Social Service,
Okay.
and we were dealing with uh, uh, refugees, we were dealing with asylum, and and so forth. So I helped them build the team along with one of my colleagues called Zachariah Logan. From there, I formed part of the YMCA group. The YMCA had an AA program. Being that I was there as a peer counselor, they we developed a program where we teach computer, and I taught a computer literacy, helping the newcomer that coming to that coming to America to know how to go about filling up form, uh, applying for job. So I led those groups, and finding myself, I came again, was opportune to come with another master program in management.
Okay.
So I, for that management, because we were focusing on a conflict and mediation. So when I came, I worked with a team here in Staten Island called interpersonal uh, interpersonal counseling. We did that, but I did a part internship with them. So those area I formed myself gave me the prerequisite
Okay.
to do anything that I think if I put my hand into, I can be successful to do it. So
Great.
I work with people on immigration matter. I work with people when it comes to uh, going to find school, going to do placing them in a place where they can find themselves. So coming now to be a community president will give me the ample time now to utilize those expertise that I have gathered
Okay.
to put it into use. So and this is where I found myself, and working for the people, serving my community. Mine is not about me, it's about the people.
Great. Thank you so much. So you see now, for those of you that are following us or for our listening audience out there, they at least have some information about who is this Reverend Robert Reed. Not just somebody that is made in the image of God and not just somebody that is just simple, but at least you have laid out some points for us to know, especially for me in person. I don't know you from anywhere. Now, how would I be able to tell people about this uh, Reverend Robert Reed until now that you have just told me who you are, which gave me some better understanding? And if I was in that area to cast my vote, whether it is in favor of you or against you, those factors that you have just given me, the background explanation that you have just made available to us, at least give me an insight in terms of whatever decision that I have to make in the interest of the community. Having said that, Reverend, I would like to know what would be your number one goal to revive or to make that community a vibrant community under your leadership? What would be your number one goal?
Thank you for that question. I think it's very important, and that's what every person will want to see happen. My number one goal is to build bridges, and that I mean to see how I can connect uh, or sprinkle sprinkler groups, because here in our community we have different segments of Liberian groups, and it made it make it difficult for us to work, because if I went somewhere to apply for grant and or apply for loan, uh when I go there, the people join and Paul was here. I did not. You guys are not the same group, because they are Liberians. Now you telling me saying you the community president. Who are they? So my intent is to build those bridges, that we can find a collaboration where we can work together and foster the the image that we really want to see. So my first is to uh, bring about that connection with different sprinkler group.
Thank you so much. And I won't let you go without asking this question, especially during this era of the pandemic that we live in. I would like to know, what have you done during this pandemic crisis that we have experienced in this world, or in this country in particular? What have you done as an individual that have this type of ambition for that community? What specific thing have you done for that community during this time of the pandemic?
Uh, what I what I did in my own weak way, because at the time, still I'm not the head of the community, and because I didn't want to bring division or sometimes clash it, and because I don't in that I'm not of that kind. I work for the city of New York, and I we refer people and we help people that in need. So, uh, in my own in my own corner, I have I have referred people to go and get benefits that they don't know nothing about, because I cannot hold them and take them there. It would be a conflict of interest. So I did a lot of referral for rent, for food, for the food stamp. Even they don't have medical, I refer them, and some of them I sat with them and fill up the form for them to go and get the help that requires of them. So I help a lot of people in my own weak way, and maybe I would say a little bit of the board. When you come to the board, I tell the board that look, we have these things to do. We need to do it, and we must do it, and so forth and so on. I, in my own weak way, I try to do the best I can, and even the need notary, I notarize the paper. They need immigration form to be filled up. I help other organization that is coming up. They need the 501c3. They need
Great.
to be to get a cooperation. We help them with edit C, and I just in my own way just helped.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your social services. That is very important, especially for the community in which you live. With that being said, at this time, because of time factor, I would like to turn the floor over to my colleague, Minister Lever Daniels. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Mr. Keto, and I'm just sitting and enjoying the flow of the show. I want to say welcome to our platform, Reverend Reeves. It's a pleasure having you, and to our listening audience, our Family Connection International, especially this program, Keeping in Touch, is a community-based program where we bring people on to tell us the impact they are making in their communities. It could be educational wise, it could be from the business level. Whatever you're doing to contribute or to the society, the platform is open to you. so everyone can take advantage of it. Our numbers are posted beneath uh, the the platform. Just write one of those numbers. If you got a program and you got something that you want us to do for you, we will be able to talk with you. Reverend Reeves, according to your explanation, you've served on the board of SECA. For how long have you served on the board of SECA?
I will tell you this. I served on the first 2 year auditor period. I served it. Uh, uh, 2 years. Let me say three, because it was extended because of I don't know why. I served there as a board chairman for one period. You know, the board tenure is you get 2 years to serve. 1 year if you are the chairman of the board, and the following year comes. When the following year comes, they have to go back in Chimov to re-elect a new board chairman. So in that tenure, the first year I I I was the chairman, and the second year, so I served two terms as the chairman of the board, and then the leadership of Ms. Orita Desmond Pass came uh, the current leadership. So the current leadership now have stayed in office for 4 or 5 years now. And out of those 4 or 5 years, the first 2 years, let me say 3 years, were more stronger. So let me say pretty close to 7 years.
7 years. Thank you very much. 7 years of community service, uh, as well as public service. You spoke about the current leadership being in power for about 5 years.
Four or
And
5 years, I say.
for 5 years, and according to you, the Constitution says every term is 2 years. During the full 5 years, was there election?
During the 4 or 5 years, there weren't any election because of situation, and I think the coronavirus came and made part of the 4 or 5 years. It was let's say non-involved because the situation we didn't have time, and they the president then appointed at his as his tenure was coming to an end. He appointed election commission, and election commission didn't do the work, and they had ups and down, ups and down, ups and down. Sometimes they collapse, and he come back again and appoint new. So that's how the 3, 4, 5 years came into play. So that's what happened in those years.
Thank you very much. So we saying that because of issues, we weren't able to have election, so we had to go like for about 3, 4 years. Uh, the board is responsible for oversight. As a member of the board, what did you do or propose to avoid such a problem that is serving unconstitutionally?
We did at the time. I was not the chairman of the board when I came in with the current board. Was the chairman was Jennifer Brunskin, and when the turn came into play for the for that administration to turn over, we cautioned the board, not the board, the executive, to establish election commission. So I want to believe they did. I think at the time was, if I'm not mistaken, we appointed Hillary Lamont from the Trinity Baptist Church, and he came in. But the way things were going between the executive and probably the board, because many times the thing there is, if you allow people to stay in the lane and do what they should do, then I think you will get a good relationship. But if you find one group is thinking that I'm so supreme, and the other group say, "Oh no, you're not supreme. We overseeing you," then we find problem. So it was problem between the executive and the board that made that election commission chairman to resign. So when he resigned, they brought in different person. I think they brought in the current chairman right now, and the current chairman was acting as the chairman. So when after a certain time, they brought in new chairman, and the current chairman became assisting again. So the hard things were going. So I think we had like 3 or 4 chairmanship, including this one. So we had a problem going to and forth. And when when we request for something from the executive will say the Senate, and our chairman of the board will not uh, present it. Our chairman our chairman will say, "No, I received it late," and that's how things were going. But we thank God now things is going in full swing.
Thank you very much. Uh, uh, Reverend Reeves.
Yeah, I'm here listening.
All right. During the time that you people were serving, because of all of these situations you just mentioned unconstitutionally, don't you think the most responsible thing for any citizen, who have been to resign, because it's not the will of the people. You decide to carry out things the way it went because of situation that you think affected your operation. Don't you think the most responsible thing at the time was to do is to say, oh no, we can preside, we can stay in these offices unconstitutionally. So if we cannot call for election, then we need to resign and turn go back to the people and let the people make the decision. Don't you think that was the best thing to do?
I may not want to believe so, because if you resign, who will you put in? How will you put in those people that coming up? You will still be going against the Constitution. So, look, this community, when you see it work in different form and faction, because sometimes, like I say again, if the board is not corresponding with the executive, and the executive is not corresponding with the board, you find an issue. And the issue there, the Constitution say the president should be responsible to call meeting. So if the president don't have time to call meeting, you cannot find an audience. You cannot find the General Assembly coming. So and and again, the General Assembly out there too, so, some of them are divided. They would not say, okay, because they have the opportunity to call meeting themselves. But they was made known that they don't have the power. So if I came up and say, okay, I resigning, the whole board is resigning, who will you put in place? How will you put? How will you bring about new board when when sometimes the General Assembly are not meeting, because we have a problem with, between the executive and the board. He couldn't find a miss on he couldn't find a place where they can find a common ground and say, look, let us work. Don't get me wrong. We at some place we found common ground and we work. And hey, we all the board can do is to recommend and tell them, say, look, you need to do this. And if the executive is not responding to you well, and then probably the board can call meeting and maybe you can assemble the general assembly. Yes, but sometimes even the people out there say would tell you the board is not the one to do such things. So you find problem outside, you find problem with the board, you find problem with the executive. So it make it harder. So it's in that vineyard that I find myself to say no. It needs someone that can reconcile these things. That this is some of the reason why I decided to run. How can we convince, persuade someone to say, look, this thing is not about us. This is about our community. And to be frank with you, we have a lot of support out there. And if we cannot work together, we're going to lose it. And I will tell you, I serve on that board, and I I oversee a lot of the grants that came in. But because I couldn't do anything, some of the grant we lose it. I would tell you plain blank, we were flat footed because maybe the president will not want to come or he don't have time or the board chairman will say they're responsible. Is that unifying force? How can we develop it? And there where I come. And I think I can be that person to unify those points.
You think you are the right person to unify those points? For those of you that just joining us, this is Reverend Robert Reeves. Reverend Robert Reeves is one of the aspirants for the presidency for SECA, Staten Island Librarians Community Association. For those of you that also dropping your comments in your text, please know that we will soon be opening the line for questions as well as comment. Reverend Reeves, you spent 7 years on the board. What is one thing that you consider the most regrettable thing that ever happened during your term that you want to rectify when becoming president?
Okay, I have a lot of things that is regrettable.
Mhm.
I'll tell you this. I work on the board of as a board chairman. I work with the then vice president and president, Mr. Orito Desmond as president and Minister Solomon Reeves as a vice president. I help in uh, with the registration form uh, with Charity Bureau, the Attorney General Office, and I help the vice president to get a grant from the DYCD, and we went and we followed them, and we went and got those grants. And what that I really regret of when I was just a med board member, we we have written for a grant, and the first time we got over 60 some thousand grant. So I decided that I would help. So everything was given to me, and even if I'm sorry if she didn't want her name to be mentioned, but I will mention it in a sense with the help of Dr. Curtis. Dr. Curtis was the former principal for the Curtis High School. With the help of HOD, we sat down and we filled up a form. And if you get a grant of 10,000, I think brother Fasa will know what I'm talking about. If you get a grant above 10,000 out, you must fill up a form with the HHS. Is HHS is Human Health Service, and you have to fill up that form with the help of Dr. Curtis. We filled up that form. We had everything intact. So the HHS approved our grant and they sent it to our distributor. So distributors are those that will be giving you the grant. So we went and started the paperwork. The first time I brought the paperwork to the chairman, at the time it was the vice president. I gave it to the vice president. The vice president gave it to the chairman. The chairman went and sat on it. So I didn't ask any question. I went back again, collected the form, and began to fill it up. So at the time, the our agent from the Department of Youth and Development Service were going. So she have told me to come to the office and see how best we can work on the form. And when she leave, we can get the money. To my surprise, I called the president. I I I, I don't want to blame him because everybody have a situation. Everybody have problem. But my I regretted that I have to go there uh, without getting anything done because the president didn't go there to sign the paper. And hey, as I said, I don't want to blame him, but the lady that's supposed to help, she left. And up to now, those grants, the paperwork haven't been signed. I don't know whether we have lost those grants or not, but I regret it. Working to that point and 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 didn't realize any result.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I can feel the effort that you apply in ensuring that that money comes to Staten Island or the Liberian community on Staten Island. Before I turn the platform over to my colleague, uh, I'm looking at your preamble. I'm looking at your preamble in the Constitution. It said, "We, the Liberians, and our descendants residing in Richmond County, Borough of Staten Island, City of New York, USA, expressing our devout gratitude to God, uh, to Almighty God for His blessings, cognizance of the need to create a non-profit, community-based organization of common interests and understanding, determined to foster unity and harmony in our community to secure goods and services for the benefits of all." I will just stop right there. You as a reverend, and you have served also on the board for like 7 years. I would like to emphasize because 7 years is not just small years. What have you done during the time you serve as leader of the board and as member to ensure that there is unity and harmony within the Liberian community on Staten Island?
I think I have made it clear uh,
Reiterate. The
in
public wants to hear.
in all my what have I done. I serve as mediator in a lot of instances. Uh, Being on the board, my work on the board, my work. I started working when I was not a board member, and I work in Betty Curtis, sitting down with people to write grant to fill out those forms. And I came, they themselves encouraged me to be on the board, and I went on the board, and and became the chairman. Went there to allocate funds, write for grant help, to write for grant, and we filled out those forms from the councilwoman office, from the state, and we got those forms. When I came out of the chairmanship and on the board, because we didn't have enough, and at the time, I thought I was going there for the second term to be and to see how best I can foster uh, the workmanship with the president and the vice president, but I was not opportune to be that at the time the chairman. So the chairman and the and the president should work hand in hand, because the chairman is our mouthpiece. We meet in meeting, and we decide, and the chairman relayed what we discuss. But at some instances we find problem, but that does not hamper me to do my work.
Excuse me,
And
Reverend Robert. No, we try to make this thing as brief as possible. I'm saying during your time serving on the board and as a leader on the board, what did you do as a reverend also to foster unity among the inhabitants of the Staten Island Liberian community? What did you do as an organization? What did you do? What can you boast of to say this is one of our greatest achievements? We were able to unite the people. Now that we can see them united, you spoke about unity. How much effort did you put in it? Can you just
I, 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 I could put, let me let you know, I could put in all my effort, and when the executive don't agree with that effort, uniting the people, uh, will not will not do any good. So I between the president and the chairman, we did sit down and talk about how can we come together, and we spoke, and we left it with the ministerial alliance. We invited them. So being part of that board member, I couldn't have done anything until the president take a stand, and there where I come in. If I was that president, the leadership at the time, I who have called meeting, and who have done a lot of things that will stir up that unity.
thank you very much. So this one thing that under your leadership you were able to achieve. Okay, because of
One
the
thing, it was not my position to achieve it, because the board members don't work or individually. Board members work collectively. So
agree.
I can just leave there and say, look, uh, uh, if you don't achieve this, then I fail. But we did what we could do.
Thank you very much. Agree. I think the first thing is to be able to foster unity between the board and the executive, and then that united front will be able to affect the community at large. But it has been a great deal of honor chatting here with Reverend Robert Reeves. He's here sharing with us his vision to aspire for the presidency for the Liberian community. We want to say thank you. Keep throwing all your comments. Very soon, we're going to be opening the line and we're going to be reading those messages that you put in. I mean, the messages, the badges of messages, barrage of messages kept coming, and we'll go through them one and by one. But for now, I'll turn it over to Soto. Soto.
Thank you so much, Leva. I think it's great. And by the way, just letting our many viewers know, this is a 1 hour program. We start at 6 p.m. Eastern Time to 7 o'clock. We have hit a 1 hour mark, but since the discussion is quite interesting, and Reverend Reed has more to offer and maybe bring out to the community, we would like to take a little more time, hopefully maybe 15 to 30 minutes, to see how we can close up this whole section. Reverend Reed, SOCA is a non-for-profit. A non-for-profit require accountability. There is a question from one of our many followers who's been out here today, Brother Elisha Biamboa. Reverend, financial accountability has been a serious problem with some circle leadership in the past that have caused a distrust in the community. When elected, what plan do you have to regain the trust of the community?
I want to put out there. I think accountability has been issues with the community. And before I think Mr. Elijah Boyd was one of those in my preparation. I tried calling to see whether he can form a team of inclusion and see the best way we can uh, handle those problems. It's true. I would tell you, I would not tell you anything that would not be true. Uh, yes, accountability has been our problem, and sometimes we collect money, even for the board to get the report. Those reports are not given, even to call a community meeting and say, look, this is how much were collected, this is how much was spent, this is how much was being, and that is one of the problem I had with a lot of the leadership that accounted for problem is the issue of our community. So I see this with the advice with others. How can we bring back that collective ideas? And I want to believe that Brother Elijah's board to have the know-how, and with his uh, intellect coming forth. I would really love to see him as he comes forth. I will invite him to come to see whether we can sit down together and stir up the strategies in bringing about accountability. I leave out one thing. Let me say is one of my plan. I think I heard it from Brother Fasai when he made mention. Look, we've been or having series of death. We'll be having a lot of books going around collecting money. Those money, what we agreed, what is for the family. We don't need them, but we need the the information and gathering information, giving report, gave others the strength wanting to do more. So when he and myself were talking the last time, he brought up, he said, okay, what I would want to see is get the book, how much were collected, how much were given to the family, how much maybe the organization took, but it's not our place there to take money. Once we collect money for that family, that family there gets all the money.
Thank you so much, Reverend. I think we have a lot of comment here. We'd like to recognize Deacon Taylor Brown, who is following us. He's one of the prominent community members. He also serves as president of Circle. Deacon Brown, we are very proud that you are following the show tonight. There's another comment here from Brother Alosha, but I think you have already answered this question. He said he feels so disappointed when we lost that community property, the hall. If you like to, Reverend, is there any plan in your vision for the Liberian community to get their own hall that would be used for meeting and income? I guess you addressed that earlier today, but maybe if you have the time, you can come down to that later to that. But there is a comment from Ambassador Dudubo Momo Taylor. The explanation from Reverend showed that there was no innovative support made, and moreover was unable to lobby beyond his jurisdiction is sickening. Do you care to comment?
I don't know what he mean about to lobby beyond his jurisdiction. His his jurisdiction.
I think he's making reference to the $60,000 grant you are lobbying, and you said that you could not do more than what you had to do. He feels that that's sickening, that you should have done more.
I
Don't you
did,
think?
I did more. The money didn't stop to 60 something thousand. The money stopped to 85,000. We did more. The first time, I went to, because I was not clued with all the information and writing policy and guidelines and all that stuff. Because after we have gotten the I will tell you this: after we have gotten the first $25,000, we knew that we wanted to go further. So at the time, it was a little bit sluggish on our part. I would say all of us was responsible. Our 501c3 was suspended. So the vice president and the secretary for the board kicked in, and right away we brought it back into play. So when we got the 25,000, we discussed, and we I personally went to Dr. Curtis, and we did the document, and everything was approved. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't go beyond. I came back to the president and told the president what was going on. I have given the document to the vice president then, and he gave it to the chairman of the board. And I don't know what went between that, what expired between them. We again took on the tax to do it, and I went and got back to DYCD. DYCD agreed to meet with me, and we met, and I couldn't sign paper because I was not the chairman of the board. One, the chairman of the board cannot sign that paper, was the president. So I tried calling the president, and the president, first, when he came, the document was not ready. But when we made the appointment, at the time the agents were leaving, hey, I will not blame him. The president did his best that he could do. But if you working and don't have no support, it frustrates you. And that's where a lot of our leadership. And I pray maybe my turn you. I don't want to see myself frustrated. I will want to come to the 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 the, the chairman of the board then, and maybe find them and see what. Yeah, I want to build that relationship. So nothing much I could do. So I did the best beyond. And even if I am elected, I want to go beyond to see whether we can write for those grants that we think we didn't get. Because it's true that we lost some of them, because we lost 2016 grant. We didn't get it back. 2017, we may lost it. 2018, 19, hey, we didn't. But I want to, again, it was through the help of, at the time when our vice president left, was the secretary of the board, Brother Zion and Kevin Richard. We sat down to write those grants, and we were approved of those grants. It left with now, at the time, it was supposed to be when I come in, I think what I will do, I will allow the board members, so if they want to be getting ready to work, because
Okay.
if you are forced to do it, then we'll be doing better thing. But I couldn't do nothing. I couldn't sign documents.
Okay, Reverend. I think we got a lot of comment, Reverend. Please be brief in your comment. This should be a yes or no. This should be a yes or no. As a member of board, member or chairman of the board of CELCA, did CELCA did anything during the height of COVID for the Liberian Staten Island? Did you do anything as a association? Did you guys did anything? Yes or no? We did something. We didn't do anything.
Yes. The administration did something.
And what was it? Can you just tell us in a nutshell?
Administration, we had some depth in the community. The administration call meetings and they gather people to give contribution. They was elected, and hey, they did what they could do by collecting to bury their their fellow citizens. So they did something.
Great. And this is from Ambassador Durable Momotela. Reverend from technical criticism. Honor the ordinances of God. You should not frown on accountability. You should be the front fighter to ensure that people live accountable and peaceful at all times. Matthew 5:16 says, let your light so shine before men that they will see your good will. Thank you so much, Momo. I think this is what is your vision? This is from Tyler D. Davis. What is your vision for Selka? What strategy will you use to push the community forward? I think you discussed that already. I think this is also from Momo. Is to institute something. What is it? Institute.
Institutionalizing.
Yeah, institutionalizing.
Internalization, I mean.
It's difficult to lead when it is not under God's guidance. Thank you so much. Emmanuel Numa is here. He just said he's happy to be here. Emmanuel
But
Numa, thank you for joining us.
can I
And
make
we
can I
also
make
have, yeah, okay, go ahead, Reverend.
Can I make one thing clear with let me I know I shouldn't, but let me just make something clear out there. I'm not frowning with accountability. Accountability is my key point. Accountability is one of my pillars that I think we need to exhibit, because if we do have accountability, we inspire other to do even more better. The reason why some of our maybe members drive away because accountability are not daring, because if they go and talk what happened with my money, like confusion. Well, if you have someone that will stand up and say, look, this is where your money go, this is how we spend it, I think this is the person that you're talking to that would be the best person to do it.
Thank you so much, Reverend. Reverend, I may have some yes or no questions here. I spoke to one prominent leader in the community who's an opinion leader, is an elder, who told me that he'd been to Silcom meeting in the past, and meetings never have financial. There's nothing that a financial report on their agenda. Do you plan to put financial report on your meeting's agenda if elected? Yes or no?
Yes.
We also talk about death already. You spoke about death. He told me that there was a scenario where they had a boat of condolence from the community, and people collected almost 800 and change. And the administration, they even take part. They had a boat, people came and made a collection. But administration claimed that they wanted administrative fee before they could turn over some balanced money to the bereaved family. Will you collect administrative fee? Yes or no?
No, I didn't. I've not heard about that in my administration or in
Uh,
myself.
Go ahead.
No, I said no, and let me just go further just a little bit. I have not heard about collecting administrative fee before they can turn. I have not heard about that, and not to my knowledge. So no, I won't collect administrative fee.
Is Circle 501c3 stay active?
Yes, SECA 501c3 stay active, and I getting ready while I'm still part of the administration, getting ready to file the 1090N. That is the a tax form, because SECA has not received an amount of 50,000, so we file the E form. So it is the 501c3 stay strong. The thing that we need to do now is the E card.
Great. If you lose the election, will you accept the result and work with the winner if you were asked to serve on any of the committee?
Uh, uh, with God be my witness, my helper, I will. Uh, it's not about me, it's about the community. So coming into it is just to find that leading portion where I think where we lacking some aspect can be rectified and can be replaced and can be strengthened. So if I do lost, wholly and solely will be waiting because I'm working for my community and not working for myself. So I'm ready at any time to do it.
And you addressed Levi Allah today on the issue of all stay in office. You gave us excuse of COVID pandemic. If you win election, the Constitution says you set up election commission 120 days. But in most cases, the past two leadership did not set up the election commission within 120 days by the Constitution. Will you set up an election commission 120 days prior to your tenure? Can you commit to that here?
I want to believe that those administration set up an election commission within the framework. But what happened, there were a lot of obstacles along the way. So it was a back and forth, and made it even difficult for us to extend. But I want to believe, and I want to give you the assurance that yes, during the end of my tenure, uh, I will set an election commission within that framework.
That's according to Article 18, Section 1, 120 days prior to your. Okay, the last question from me. Do you support the process of virtual voting process by the Election Commission that have been suggested? Other candidates are complaining that they have problem with the virtual election process. And one of the complaints I heard from other candidates, there's no voter registration. So you don't know how many persons is coming to vote. So how do you determine a percentage of people who voted from the process? Do you trust the process that the commission is carrying out?
I may let me say I may trust the process, and on the other note, I may not. But what the commissioner chairman, I think vividly, if I understood him well, he said that during the virtual election, he won't just come up and vote. He will be asked to show ID card. He will be asked to show some document before he can allow you to vote. I don't know how he's going to do that. I don't know by which means. You know, electronic is changing, it's revolving, and things happen. So, but where in they don't have such uh, uh, of instrument to gather those information, it make it difficult to believe who voted, because there where I would say I may not want to trust it because I don't know who voting. So let us give the election commission their own net, either to cut themselves or to lay the net down. Because if they show that the possible and there is a possibility that they can get it right, look, they can lay the net down. If they can, they're going to cut themselves. Then probably we will find problem with the odd effort that they've been making, because they don't want to make that a lot of effort, then they find themselves cutting themselves.
But are you prepared to go into an election process where there's no voter registration for you to know the fixed number of people that are qualified to vote? Even in the United States, you got to be a citizen and you have to register to vote. Even if you were born here, if you don't have filled in that form, board of election form, as a registered voters, your name will not be on the roster. How pleased are you to go to the elections without voter registration?
Right
Do
now,
you
to tell
will
you,
you trust the process?
to tell you, I will trust the process. I will trust the process. The election don't come up and make a sweeping laws, rules, and regulation. Those rules and regulation was made during a general meeting, a general conference. The General Assembly met, and because a lot of us was making a lot of sweeping comment, and even if I can see it on Brother Levi's face that we've been there for a long time. So, oh look, we've been here for a long time, and we want this thing to happen. And and furthermore, the community is stagnant. The community is not shaking. The vision was that we found an interim team for that interim team to lead 1 or 2 years. But hey, there's a problem again. No one want to put an interim team in, and no one want to keep the current leadership because they said the leadership had lived even two scope of the time, because I think they're going to, if the year pass, it will be six. So it's
Great,
two,
great,
two,
great.
two.
I
So
think
I believe I, I I would believe them, and I would urge my colleague, look, let us go into this. Who wins? If I win, okay. If I don't, then we can find a common ground. We can come to the drawing table now and put our constitution into perspective.
thank
But
you so
for
much.
now, it's not in. So
I
I
think
I want to go along.
our time is fast spent, but we want to take last question from Reb Deacon Telly Brown. He's one of the opinion leader in our community. Uh, what's your strength and weaknesses? What makes you better or worse than the other candidate? Let's look at your strength and your weaknesses, and what makes you better than other candidate.
Let me say this. My strength is my persuasion. How to talk to people, how to convince you. I'm a man that counsel people. I'm a man that uh, love people. My presence near you will will serve. I don't need to talk. We have. Let me just show this. We have a course when I was in the seminary. They used to go and talk to people about Jesus, and uh, to do that course is not to speak the name Jesus or God, but let them see Jesus in you or God in you. So we used to go. When we go, we will go in the hospital. We'll sit down at the bedside of the sick family member. We'll be sitting there, and we'll just sit there. And if they say they want to, hey, when the patient is getting out to go to the bathroom, can we help you? Some of them can reject it. Some of them can say, oh, okay, thank you. Where are you from? Then I say, okay, I'm a chaplain in this hospital. So my strength here is I'm a people person. So I learn how to talk to people, and I persuade them in a sense that we all can work together. And it is the need that we should work together as a people. My little bit of weakness uh, is little bit of follow up. Sometimes people need follow up. And if you telling someone to do something and you're not following up to let them know, to encourage them what to do, some people grab it quicker. Some people need a push, and and sometimes it takes some time for me to push you. but I see that to be one of my weaknesses, and and I have worked towards it. And I think when I become uh, president, I will work on that, and we have others behind me to remind me of my weakness.
What makes you a better candidate than the other two?
I'm a better candidate because I am knowledgeable. I'm knowledgeable of our surrounding. Maybe the other candidate may have had similar jobs. They may have been supervisors. They may have been leaders. But I am knowledgeable when it comes to uh, document preparation and how to get it done and who to go to I know some of the loopholes where to press, who to call. And in my calling, there where I come in to convince others to do the best they can.
Can,
So I'm straightforward person.
can you follow up with a question on the screen from Tyler? What have you learned from past leaders of SECA, and how would those lessons influence your leadership?
You know, one of the leaders that I came and he brought me on board. I'm gonna be grateful to this and some this person. Most time people, you know, when I'm talking about this president, sometimes tear comes into my eyes, and he being such a friend. We fight, we fall down. Let me just speak the English. We fall down, we get up, and that's how friends uh, are supposed to be. When I came into the community, I think I met my brother Deacon Brown. Deacon Brown, the job I get is he the one that helped me. It came to a point where he told me, hearing different people saying uh, things, and he came and say, "Look, my man, you got to do this thing." I was still reluctant. Deacon Brown came. He said, "My man, if you can, then giving the people, let me fill up the form for you." But I stood tall and do it. He may have his own problem. People may not like him, but if in his tenure was one of the tenure that I really work because I wanted to know what Deacon Brown was doing, how he did some of his work. Deacon Brown took me to a lot of places where it came a time that I myself was going, he himself was surprised because he showed me the way. And that's the type of leadership I want to become, to help people, to show them the way where they can. There's an old saying back home. They say, "Help, help people." You know it now. Help them to what? Fish, and don't give them fish. If you help someone to fish, the fish that you're giving them would be uh, it will be small for them because you are taught them how to fish. You will get more fish, and that's what happened between Deacon Brian and myself. I can tell you, I'm not boasting, maybe of him. He comes to me and say, "Look, my man, I want you to do this. I don't know it," because of his influence, and that's the leadership I would want to be. I may not go to a positive, a negative side, or whether he do have it, but I know he's a good friend and he's one of those. And one person again, let me just make mention of is my own friend and brother Rufus Akwe. He's one of those. Rufus Akwe, Deacon Gade, those people, I don't know their side. I don't want to take the bad side, but hey, they do have a great side. And being a good leader, you want to look for the great side to add on to your. And that's how I gather my fight. That's how I grew up from my father and from my brother. Look at the good one, add it to your good, and make it even more better than them.
Great, great, great. I think we had a comment from the current president, Abraham Tucker. He said he wants you to address this issue. He said the issue of administrative fee. I brought the issue of administrative fee up because I spoke to a prominent member in the community. I don't want to call his name. That was a personal discussion between he and I. He said a family member passed where they collected some money, and the administration said that they wanted administrative fee before they get the balance to the family. But I did not ask him which administration it was because he wanted us to clarify. And he also talked about the $25,000 grant. Which administration? You'll be on the board. Do you know which administration has to deal with the $25,000 grant? Abraham Tucker, by the way, is the current president of the Staten Island LeBron community.
No, Abraham Tucker inherited those grants. And it was grant that when who were leaving, Orita Bestman was leaving, we sat down, I think Kevin Richards, uh, Edwin, Chuku Zion, and myself, we sat down and write because every year, beginning of February, the council, the city council come about organization applying for grant. And we sat down, though that we were getting late. So we sat down and put in those grants. And the grant was approved. When it was approved, that's when President Tucker came into play. And I think it's a grant that we all should have just pick it up and start running. I don't want to frown at who administration was that or who administration. It was the time now that we all in President Tucker administration to implement those grants because when Orita came in, she met a grant from Deacon Brown, and those grants we sat down with Orita and we got those grants, and there was a problem. We use it on the food pantry. We use some on the bidding because of some problems, some issues. We couldn't have maintained the the uh, 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 the community hall. But that is my prayer. That is my hope that when we all come together, we can make it happen. And believe you me, having a community hall will serve us better because a lot of times we go out there and pay $3, $4, $5,000. Take for instance, if we have a community hall, you know what will happen? Every member will get a discount. The money will go around. There will be a lot of money where we can loan some of our people to do their business. Well, we getting business money outside, and sometimes when they get the business money, they don't want to pay. But having a community hall would be mine. And to start with a community hall, we must have one of those apartment rented. And that will be my focus to see whether we can write management and get the lobby, one of the lobby, because we already have an apartment that's servicing our people with the food pantry. So, hey, I cannot do it. If it depends on me to do it, is done. But and if I want it done, then it is my turn. It is my opportunity to reach out because a lot of times our leader does not reach out.
Thank
They
you so
stop
much.
where they're supposed to stop.
Thank you so much,
So
Ravi. Yeah, thank you so much, Ravi. I think my colleagues are saying that we should take some calls. I don't know if they have any calls. We have the numbers on the screen. Those who are monitoring us want to put in a call. We'll give you 1 minute. Maybe you want to say something. Since you're going to type us a comment or read your questions, if you have a call to drop in. Levi, is there any call on your end? And before I go over to Levi, I got a colleague of mine from Way, Oklahoma, who's the president of Oklahoma Librarian Association by the name of Samuel Gadu. And he just made a comment. Is this guy joking about being knowledgeable? This is what? That is his reason for re-election. Well, he just joining in. Nobody is going for re-election, Sam. What practical example can we mention that he has or will implement to bring the community together if he wins? What practical example can you mention here to tell us that if you win, you'll be able to bring this community together? Because we all know that the community is so polarized and so divided. And just to make it clear, this is not a debate. This is not a fighting between issues. We brought Reverend Reeves here to share his agenda, that if he's elected, what do he bring to the table? We are not the election commission. We thought that we should be part of the process, and we'll bring out other candidates. Next Sunday, we will bring in another candidate to share his platform, his vision for the community. That's all we are doing this. We are not conducting a debate, and we are not trying to put ideas or trying to put report. Somebody didn't make report, who got the money, who didn't get the money. That's none of our business. Whoever is elected will open a new page. What do you bring to the table? Thank you so much.
Well, if you want me to address you, I thought you wanted me.
Yeah, the practical example you want to show that if elected, you'll be able to bring the community together.
If you want to put the question up again, let me see what you're talking about, because I want to address what you're talking about. Is this guy joking? I don't know.
No, just for what practical example can you mention?
Being knowledgeable. Knowledgeable means that I can sit down and do a grant, where to go to do the grant. If I know one or two, is a kind of knowledgeable. So I'm not joking. So I tell you what is weird. And if this is this reason for re-election, I don't know what you're talking about. What practical example can he mention that he has or will implement to bring the community together? First time, I think I spoke about that, to see the best way we can build bridges. And by building bridges is to reach out. That's the first and foremost that I think I would want to do. You find our churches here, they have our churches, if no one know, they are the giants of our communities. And if you find our churches coming together to find part of what is going on in the community, you find the whole community dwelling together, because they are the center of our community. The churches, the mosques, you find our people there. And if I can reach out to them, then we can start from somewhere, because I will go to the churches, and if they agree and say, look, we owe in this. Right now, our community is struggling. To be weird about that, we got a food pantry that is struggling, and that food pantry is the one that holding this community together. Without the food pantry, we have no organization. So if we can get our food pantry back on its feet, then we can start doing the best thing around here by reaching out and doing a lot.
Thank you so much. We just want to go over to our colleague Benjamin for his parting comments. I'll go to Levi, then we'll have to conclude this broadcast. We are far, far beyond our 1 hour mark, going to 2 hours for tonight. But I know it's a special edition, and there are comments coming up. We want to clarify those issues. Ben?
Brother Solomon, before Brother Ben come, Brother Ben, I'm sorry. Before you come, we already got a caller online.
1 minute, please.
Can we just take caller, your name and where you calling from, please?
Yeah, good evening. Thank you so much, Brother Titles. My name is Trocom Moore. I'm calling from Staten Island, New York. I'm a member of Silka, and also member of the board of director and vice chair of the board.
Go ahead with your comment.
What's your concern, Brother Trocom?
Well, I just wanted to kind of like speak to some of the questions that were thrown at brother Mr. Reeves when he was speaking. Silka is, to some of you gentlemen that are, following and, just coming to Silka. Silka is like where we call back home, what we call Kubujumuku. You're not inside, you don't know. So some of the questions that were thrown at him regarding, just the leadership aspect of Silka. This has been ongoing for a long time, and I don't know if it's because of the constitution that we have. Maybe it needs to be looked into, or I don't know, because of the personality that we have in the community. So when we came on, we tried to enforce the constitution, whereby we try to check the executive. And then in doing that, it kind of created, the rift, between the two bodies. Later on, we try to find common ground, we try to work through it. And, but at that time, the center could not hold. Just for common example, just to hold this election that we are talking about today.
In one minute, brother Chokon, we have no much time. Just do that.
Please conclude.
Yeah, just the election that we are talking about today, just to hold the election, it took about 3 years because no one in our community wanted to take initiative. So it's both ways. It's leadership and then it's the people. Well, I think it's leadership more because leadership have to bring the people. So, not to go back too much about, what's been going on. I think this is an opportunity for us to come together. That's why the Constitution was lax. We kind of relaxed some of the elements in the Constitution to enable some of you knowledgeable people in the community to come on board, because if we're going by the Constitution, some of you may not be able to even come to Silka until you kind of, meet your due diligence. So I just want to put that out there, and then for the pandemic, during the pandemic, Silka was already dysfunctional.
Thank you, Brother Chokon. We don't have much more of a time to continue. You could just drop a comment if you want. If you want to say any other thing, we appreciate that. Sorry that our time has already caught up with us. Thank you very much.
Okay, Levi, give us your parting comment. We'll go to bed. We'll have to go. Time is fast, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to say thank you for following us again. We are hoping, I see that the outgoing president, the current president, is very interested in making his view heard. I think Solo and Brother Ben, we will have to speak with the current president after the show to see how best we can find space for him to talk about his successes and his challenges during the time that he served as Seka. But we want to say thank you, and I do appreciate everyone comment and effort. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think that's correct. We'll reach out to AB. AB is available. He's welcome on our platform so we can discuss his administration successes and failures. And what are those problems? How can we move forward? Ben, over to you.
Reverend Reeves, thank you so much for giving us the time to do some quizzing with you this evening to know where you stand in terms of your vision for the position that you want to seek in a not distant future. Just before I let you go, can you tell me something about you that you would have done differently in terms of your past or even your present position with this association? What is it that you would have done differently if you had the time?
Or you mean done differently as just
as board member,
board member or chairman of the board, your current position? What is it that you would have done differently had you had the time or the chance given to you? What is it that you can tell us, the listening audience?
I think all my board the board member can serve me right. What you should have done or who have done differently is to stick in bringing about compromising in terms of the board and the executive. And they can serve me right. I've been the the force behind them. A lot of times when things is going on the contrary, I talk to them. But because the board is done by election, the majority carry it, and even the majority took it. I still stand by what I say, but it does not give me the urge that I will impose my will or my quest to the board because the board have already. So to stick to that unifying force
Okay.
between the board and the executive to find that cordial relationship that we can exhibit between one another, and
Great.
that's what I think I should have done. I I should have done it differently in terms of.
Great. Thank you so much. As you know fully well that you are seeking a very high office in that community, that is to become the president of that community. Now, you're going to be dealing with a lot of personalities, and people will come in your face at times, and they will aggravate you, and you have to know how to handle things with them. And I have this question for you: when was the last time you were angry? And if so, what did you do in the midst of your anger? Hello?
Well, my lost Reverend Reed, I think time is fast spent. Man, get our team son. I think we got to go home. We have exceeded 2 hours, and I guess with less Reverend Reed. And we want to say thank you so much for everyone who joined us tonight. We'll be back here Sunday, 6 o'clock Eastern Time, with another presidential aspirant who will be here with his campaign manager to discuss their platform. And if the other candidate also want to come in, reach out to us, see how we can arrange. We'll also arrange with the current president, Abraham Tucker, to see how he can explain to us how his administration was run. On behalf of Dan, Levi, and myself, we'll go home tonight. Saying thank you so much for joining us. And have a good night. Now I end. Hallowed be thy name.